raised in the Lone Star Land, with boots on my feet and dreams in my hand. A little sassy but a whole lot of grace. You'll see that fire when you look at my face. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Barbecue smoke, Friday night lights, cheering for the Astros under Texas skies. A little bit stubborn, a whole lot of charm. This big old heart will keep you warm. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Barbecue smoke, Friday night lights, cheering for the Astros under Texas skies. A little bit stubborn, a whole lot of charm. This big old heart will keep you warm. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. From the bluebonnet fields to the city streets, every step I take feels like home to me. With a little sass and a lot of pride, this Texas girl's got nothing to hide. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright.
Gummy shoe prints, laid them down the street. Chocolate wrappers hiding secrets sweet. They don't miss a beat, they've got a knack. With licorice ropes pulling answers back. Twist the wrapper to reveal the truth. A sticky web spun by a candy slough. No sour lies can escape the grip. These lollipops are
Sebastian, sweet boy, where have you gone? The sun sets low, but we keep marching on. The wind whispers your name soft through the pines, a melody aching in these hearts of mine. Roads are endless, the nights are cold, but your story's a light we'll never let go. Where are you, sweet boy Sebastian? We're searching the hills, the rivers, the plains. You deserve better, oh you deserve better. And your army is fighting through heartache and pain. Your laughter once rang like bells through the air. Now silence just lingers, it's more than we can bear. We carry your memory, a flag in our hands. Through shadows and valleys, through shifting sands. The roads are endless, the nights are cold, but your story's a light we'll never let go. Where are you, sweet boy Sebastian? We're searching the hills, the rivers, the plains. You deserve better, Oh, you deserve better, and your army is fighting through heartache and pain. Your laughter once rang through heartache and pain.
Well, hello, my beautiful friends. How are y'all doing today? Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you've all had a really great day today. I did not make it to my grandson's ball game. The thought of climbing up bleachers, walking all the way from the parking lot to the field, my leg just wasn't up to it. My knee is still swollen today and very, very, very sore and hurting, but I'm all propped up with my ice pack and thought we need to talk, y'all. So here we are. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, Daisy Dukes. Hello, Lori. There's our Jen in Georgia. How are you? In Tropical Paradise. Hello. Valley Gal. Miss Rhonda, Miss Kathy. Hello, y'all. Let me see here. Anybody else coming in? Lori's in here. Selena's here. We got, hang tight. Let me scroll. TJ, hello. Me and you. All our friends are in here today. Let's see. Teresa, hello. Hey, Sandy. Peggy, hello. And let's see who else we got. Charlene, hello. Hey, Jacqueline. Lisa King, hello, hello. Well, goodness. Hey, Bo. Good to have you with us today. Let's see. Do. Anybody else? Si, how you doing? She is occupied, but she listening to us. That is a true friend of our channel there. Susan, hi. Good to have you. And Tam. Ooh, hello. Good to always have you with us. Laura Arnold. She says Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers. That's right. He is the reason we're here, folks. Hello, Miss Kelly East. Oh, and Kelly, by the way, that big old bubble on the side of my kneecap is hot today. If it's hot tomorrow, I'm going to the doctor. Miss Retha, how are you doing? Always good to have you with us. Kai, hello. Good to have you. Oh, my chat's skipping. Texas Plain Jane, hello. Hello, SL. I hope I didn't miss anybody here. Let's see. Just my girls. Hello there. Welcome, welcome. His eyes. How you doing? Lisa King. She became a lollipop. That's so exciting. We love that. Hang on and I'll play you a song just for you. Got a secret? Can you keep it? Hello, hello. Hey, Jay Zolly. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Tropical Paradise. It's crazy. Geraldine, look at there. Prayers. Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you, darling. That is so nice. I tell you, I'm not sure what's going on with my knee. It's just crazy. The goat kicked it on Wednesday. Thursday, I had no problems. It was a little sore, but didn't stop me. And then yesterday, it stopped me. So, look at Daisy coming in, gifting a membership. Daisy, thank you so much. That was so sweet of you. Man, I love it when we get new members. And this next week coming up, we're going to be doing a members live. So y'all be ready for that. And hang tight. Let's get down here. Look at Tim being a member for 7 months. Love being a lollipop. We love having you, Tim. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. And let's get down a little further here. Here's Lisa King coming in hot, becoming a member of our beautiful, beautiful channel over here. We got some mighty beautiful lollipops, the prettiest lollipops in the world. And look at Holly coming in with the super sticker. Holly girl, love you, my friend. Thank you so much for that. So, to our new members and to those who and to Daisy for gifting a membership. Welcome to the South.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a baby and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And thank y'all for your support with the channel. It is so appreciated, man. I am just honored that I have people that actually believe in what we're doing over here. It's amazing. It's so great. Yes, me and you, I will. I'm hoping once I can get to where I can sit up good. Right now, I'm laid back with pillows propping me up, 2 pillows under my knee, and an ice pack on it. So, y'all wouldn't be able to see much anyway. But yes, I received a beautiful shirt from me and you. It was so, so sweet. And it is absolutely beautiful. So I will definitely be showing that. Anyways, wait, who we got up here? Bama football. Welcome to the South, beating Tennessee. Whoop whoop. Well, sorry about your bad luck, TJ, but my Aggies are whipping up on your boys. My granddaughter, speaking of the Aggies, guys, let me tell you this funny story. My granddaughter, she's 9, the youngest here, and her mom and her grandparents were doing a garage sale over at their house, at the grandparents' house, and they had a lot of Texas UT stuff because that's where they had gone to college at. And she was telling me how this lady was looking through all the UT stuff needing a watch. She was hoping to find a watch. And she said, Lolly, I found that lady her UT watch and I showed it to her, but I made sure it was upside down because us Aggies always put those UT horns down. I was like, girl. So she was being quite funny this morning. And yes, Holly, that's kind of what I'm wondering about as far as maybe like a blood clot or something, because that goat kicked me on Wednesday. It was fine Thursday. Wednesday was a little sore, just because it had just happened. And then Thursday was a little sore. I didn't think much of it. But when I got up yesterday, I had that big old bubble out beside my kneecap there. No, the kneecap's not swollen, but it kicked me on the side of the knee. And, but the kneecap itself is not swollen. I just have an egg shape or about the size of an egg on the side of my knee coming out. Just a big old soft bubble spot. And it hurts like the dickens to try and bend my leg. And today it is very hot. Oh, look here. Tam says to help with your doctor's appointment. Thank you, Tam. That is so sweet of you. I appreciate that because the way it's going, I might be going to urgent doc sooner rather than later. Kelly asked me yesterday, she said, "Is it hot?" And I was like, "Well, no, not really." But today it's only hot right there where that bubble space is. So I'm going to watch it real close. I went and got me some aspirin and see if that won't help a little bit. But if it's still like that tomorrow, yeah, SI says like a hematoma. Yeah. And the weird part is I don't even have a bruise anywhere. Cuz when the goat went to kick the little goat, but the little one knew what was coming and backed out of the way, and my knee got it. The side of my knee got it. And I thought, "Oh, that's going to leave a bruise." It's just a little tiny dark coloring, but that's not. It's not all bruised. It's crazy. Yeah, it was not fun at the time. Made me mad. I was like, "Gum, you goats. I'm trying to feed you." But I had the food. The big goat was ready to get her food, and the little one got in between the food and her, and she was not liking it. She butted up against it. Well, I guess the little one figured out, "Oh, that's going to hurt," and backed out of the way. So, yeah, I'm watching it pretty close, and I may have to go up to urgent doc and get it checked. But I feel so bad. Little man had a football game this morning at 10:30, and baseball tournament started, and his game was at 1:30, and I was so excited to get to go watch him. But I couldn't do it. So, anyways, so friends, let's break down what's happening. Lots of people been emailing me, texting me saying, "What the hell?" Basically, that sums up what all has been said. The other night, we, a good bunch of us, listened to Nerdy Attic, and then we went back and reviewed it the next day. And then he had one last night again. Okay, let's go see what he has to say tonight. I was in there for just a few minutes, and I'm like, "Bye, everyone. I'm out. I'm here for facts, not CP facts." And so I left out. The next thing I know, At Night is putting out this big statement. And I'm going to read it to you a little bit. Let me see if I can get to it real quick here. Okay, well, I had it saved here, but then it went away. Let me see if I can find it. Because here it is. They talked about the person that was on panel last night over at Nerdy Attic. They acknowledged that the October 17th YouTube live stream Reading Between the Lines, hosted by Nerdy Attic, which featured body language analysis, Susan Constantine, and addressed the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Rogers at night, strongly concurs with the primary professional standard discussed on the stream, referring all findings and subjects of concern directly to law enforcement for official review. In the interest of transparency, At Night confirms that it is the organization that engaged Susan Constantine and Dr. Cliff Lansley. This engagement, active October of 2024, was undertaken on behalf and at the request of Mr. Seth Rogers to locate actionable material in the search for his son. We specifically sought out Ms. Constantine and her team for their rigorous evidence-based methodology, which she detailed during the live stream. We appreciate their remarkable ability to analyze vast evidence and maintain professional discretion amid the intense public harassment surrounding the case. The formal report of findings from the engagement, which Ms. Constantine confirmed in the stream, was submitted to TBI, was referred directly by At Night. In accordance with our protocols, this information has also been submitted to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children Cyber Tip Line for review tonight. At Night refrains from naming individuals or publicly releasing sensitive material. We strongly discourage any form of harassment, doxing, or independent investigation by the public. If you genuinely believe someone is in immediate danger, please call 911. For online exploitations concerns, we kindly request you to utilize our official reporting channels. At Night is dedicated to collaborating with experts, platforms, and organizations to search for Sebastian. So I read that and I was like, what? Of course, granted, I was only in there in his live in the chat for just a few minutes. I've been upfront and honest with every one of you. I just don't play well with people who don't want to talk truthfully. I'm not going to spend my time doing that. It's not worth it. I got better things to do with my life. I knew where this was all going in my mind. I bolted out of there. Done. See ya. Got better things to do. Then everybody starts sending me emails and messages and all the things, and I'm messaging with a good friend on Messenger, and I told her I'm not understanding this. Then she told me, go back and re-listen. Don't watch chat. It took me a lot to go back in just to listen, because 100% this person who has this channel got information from Christopher Proudfoot. At no time is he interested to get information from Seth Rogers, Sebastian's actual father. That's the part that bothers me. And last night, when I was listening, it was insane, crazy how she was talking about this professional woman that came on his panel was talking about her Fraulein. It doesn't frown up, and yet her chin would move as well. These are little indicators, okay, that she talked about. The chat started bringing up the fact that KK has had Botox. It's probably why there's no brow line, no brow, her brows kind of furrowing. I'm like, are we serious right now? Yeah, Alicia, I'm giving y'all my take. And yes, the one guy that called in, me and you, if you recall, we had the same guy call in, gave us his opinion and everything. I listened to him. I try to be fair to everybody, try to see where they're coming from. He's the one that told me, go back and listen to Jay. Listen at this point, and Seth will say something that is so suspicious. You have to look at him. You have to look into him. We actually went back, played Jay for Justice, as she's reviewing the video of Seth protesting in front of Sumner County Sheriff's Office. She could not let 1 minute go by, 2 minutes at the most, before she paused and said something disrespectful towards Seth. Downright ugliness. Okay? Her channel, she has a right to say what she wants to say, right? So be it. I'm ready to get to this one section to hear what Seth said that is so side-eyed that, you're going to look at him a little side-eyed and really question things. Folks, when we got to that very point where Carl said, listen close, it makes him look guilty. Seth said the words, and this is not exact quote, but very, very close. Seth's words were, if Sebastian had been living with me on that day, if he had been with me, we wouldn't be here right now because I would know where he was. He would have been safe that day and he would be here with us today. At what time does that make anything suspicious? That's Seth saying, I would have kept my son safe. My son wouldn't be missing. He would have been in my home where he was safe. But of course, they turned it all kinds of ways south and made it into something that it was not. I gave Nerdy Attic all the credit as far as he's saying and repeating the words that he was told by Mr. Chris. Okay, I give it to him. He's saying what he heard, what was told to him. But as I made my statement down in chat last night, I stand by what I said 1000% over and over and over again. I'm here for facts. And in order to get your facts, you have to be able to look at the whole complete circle and every person involved. You have to be able to look at the words of the mother, the father, and unfortunately, the stepfather. Because he has inserted himself all up into this. Everybody wanted to hear from Sebastian's dad in the very beginning. everybody wanted to hear from Sebastian's mother. Mr. Chris, the stepfather, has pushed his way into becoming the main focus of every interview they do. He has to come in, he has to sit there, and he has to make the story crystal clear because not everybody is pervy. His words, folks, not mine. And when you have a person that's sitting on some very important information, because knowing that there was a criminal warrant served for their home to pull things out of their home and take it with them, that was very good information. That clarified everything that we heard before and we assumed was criminal type of warrant. Mr. Chris tried very hard to convince everybody back then that it was just papers being served to notify us that we had court that day. Of course, there was a lot of us who were not that ignorant and realized you don't get served just a couple of hours before you're going to court. You get those papers ahead of time. But when you have a person bringing out information that is 100% different than anything we've heard in 19 months, you're going to go listen. You're going to pay attention to that. I made that little short yesterday because it was on his channel. His panel guest made the insinuation that Nancy Grace was being nefarious by taking her story with Seth and the talk about the polygraph with Seth. Folks, there's two. One where they talk about it prior, one where they talk about after he took it. They're still public. But of course, we had to listen to the fact that it was nefariously taken down. It wasn't. And this is where I have the most problems when it comes to all of this. We have a man who has had a channel for quite a while. I never listened to him. Not in the past, and only up until the day where he said he had new information. Everybody's going to listen. We're all going to want to hear. But then people start making comments about where's he been, blah, 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 blah. Folks, he has had a very bad addiction. He is living in a halfway house because of his addiction. And he is trying to come back and bring his channel up to where he wants it. In the meantime, we all have to sit back and recall the words he said. Barbecue Lady got him in touch with Mr. Chris. Stephen Crabtree, he corresponds with on a regular. Stephen Crabtree and Mr. Chris were going to come on his panel. They ghosted him. It was Barbecue Lady who told him that while you're out there, if you need flyers, Chris has some. There's a common denominator in all of this, but you got to look out the outside of that person and the friends that surround him. that should have been a warning sign from the get-go, but we were sitting over here invested in Sebastian, his case, and what new information could there be out there? We all fell right into it. There's talk about him being part of the At Night team. Folks, if you pay attention to the spelling that he uses, there's a K in there. I don't know if anything that he has told us is truthful or not. But I do know this. I want each and every one of you to understand that if you're going to come over here and listen to me, we're going to have covered everything pertaining to that one subject. Even if it means that we got to look into his dad, we will. His real father, we will. Because you see, Sebastian is our number one focus. We're not here to play games with Mr. Chris and his minions, which, it's my opinion, Nerdy Addict is now one of his minions. If you're going to put out the words of the stepfather and not look into the biological father and hear his words, that confirmed it for me 100%. You're not here for Sebastian. You're here to cause a distraction. You are here for nefarious reasons only. And I have never, ever, in a case, heard so many people putting out crap like we've heard in Sebastian's case. I hear other missing children's cases where there's people who support the mother, the father, the step parent, whatever, all different angles. It's talked about. Everybody has their own belief. But at no time do you have people coming out intentionally to try and make someone else look bad. Summer Wells' case is now the exact same way. Things are being said and done intentional because they don't like Fred. Intentional because they don't like Andy. There's a divide because of two men in the Summer Wells case, and everybody's leaving Summer drowned in the middle of her own case. Look at Holly said, didn't watch the interview. How convenient. Go girl. Thank you so much for that, Holly. I appreciate you. But when you get into a missing child, do I believe Seth is innocent? Yeah, I do. But my reason is because I looked into him. I looked into where he was, looked into the statements made by people that worked with him that particular night. Did the same thing with Mr. Chris. Because, he's in the crane at 5:30 at night. But that's where I found the whole, wait a minute, that ain't quite true. Because the very last sentence, we start work at 7 a.m. the man who removed him from his position that day and told him to go home. Folks, that's a straight up lie he told us when it come to his alibi. Seth told us he was at work. He got there at this time and he didn't leave till this time. He's in a lockdown facility, and at no time did they ever show him leaving that building. That means Seth has an alibi. Of course, the other side couldn't twist and turn that alibi around. So then they decided, let's add in the fact that, he works with inmates. He could have got them to get him in touch with someone to hire to do it. There's no evidence that ever happened. Seth has told us the same version, the same stories, the same central point. It's never varied, but just maybe a smidge. And yet, Katie and Chris have countless versions of how things went down. At what time did we stop stroking the ego of Mr. Chris and Katie, pampering them every which way, when we're still hearing different versions of that day being said by the stepfather? If what Nerdy Attic put out the other day was the God's honest truth, then that means Mr. Chris told a 180-degree turn about the search dogs. He has talked about different things when it comes to the search dog, but the most that he said about it, there's been more times he talked about the dogs hitting on Sebastian scent in front of their house, goes in front of their house, goes down the back of their fence line, across the street, into the retention pond. The dogs run and jump in. And yet we have law enforcement tell us, no. Will you tell Sandy who you were talking about? That guy, Nerdy Addict, is that it? Cowgal, thank you for letting me know that. Okay. I will definitely get it checked into. I really will, because it's hurting. I don't miss the name then. Sorry. Okay. Not sure. Sandy, so you know who she's talking about, correct? Okay. So y'all got that handled. Just want to make sure. I just looked over to chat for a second. But guys, if Chris literally told Nerdy Addict a whole different version, the dogs went across the street to the little backyard play area in the house, right beside Bobby's house, and then worked its way down to Drake's Creek, then hit at Old Hickory Dam. That is 7 miles away from that home. Do you guys realize that is 7 miles away? We've never, ever once heard the dogs hit at Old Hickory Dam. The water was too high. They couldn't release any of the water and drain it down so they could get in there and check, according to what he told us the other day. He never mentioned the retention pond, never mentioned that a dog jumped into that pond. So is this a whole nother version we call distraction? Is that it? Because, guys, we have seen distraction at its finest when it comes to this case. That distraction started the morning Sebastian went missing, and the police, the sheriff, was told by Chris on the phone, Katie couldn't talk. Remember, she was too distraught. So Chris told the sheriff, when he didn't call 911, but called the direct line to the sheriff and said, our son has ran away. Deception began that moment. Go look out here, way far, far around out here, because it could be anywhere. Just don't come look in our house. Yeah, I wonder about that, his eyes, because I mean, he seemed very serious about it. You know, he did seem very serious. And he said it was a little disturbing. Retha says, I see a change of story, a potential blessing, prayers that someone is slipping up, possibly. Prayers for Sebastian found soon. Girl, I think they're starting to feel a little pressure. Yes, tonight supposedly he is analyzing Seth's interview with Nancy Grace. I will say, if you go to that channel and you listen to any of that, be very, very cautious, because it is all a setup just to have us come in and try to defend Seth, I believe. I believe this is all part of their game, all part of, hey, everybody come over here because the haters are going to be there. We're the haters, remember? All because we're focused on Sebastian. We're not focused on Mr. Chris and KK. It's how this game is playing out. And it's absolutely gross. Absolutely gross. Now, keep in mind, the woman that was on that live last night had a score rating. In her words, Katie and Chris Proudfoot were deceptive when it comes to them talking about Sebastian. Folks, there are things you cannot hide. You can have the best alibi figured out in your head, written down on paper, and study it for a long, long time. But it's a proven fact your body will give you away. Yep, they got a score of 52%. You can't be a professional liar and get away with it, because your body will tell a different story. And with that being said, guys, we're going to take a minute to recall one of the best body language experts, the deception detective, as he breaks down the very first time we see Katie and Chris speak. Not the time where they're doing it IML. I do believe so. I believe he's part of all that. He's making fun of at night. He is listening to Chris and going off of what Chris told him, and he's putting it out as fact. And he is not willing, his words, to have a conversation with Seth. You can't be 100% until you have covered all the facts. Oh yeah, Texas Plain Jane. I'm with you on that. I love how Deception Detective breaks it down, and it is so very, very easy to understand. So I'm going to pull this up. We're going to get this going, make it bigger. I'm going to start playing it. I will change my banner at the bottom here in just a second.
And if they truly search their souls, they should be upfront with us and upfront with the police, reveal everything that they're holding back about that, because it might help the police deduce where Sebastian is. For example, let's say they got in a big argument and Sebastian said, I'm going to Dad's house. And she said, fine, go. Right? Okay, go, leave. But don't take your shoes. If you're going to go to Dad's, you're not taking the shoes that I bought you. So go barefoot. And he goes out. And then she thinks to herself, oh man, a few hours later, where is he? Chris, I sent him outside the house without shoes. He hasn't shown up. I just went outside and I think he actually ran away. And then that would be the part that they hide. So there's a lot of nuance to these things. What do Katie and Chris Proudfoot, the mother and stepfather of missing autistic teen Sebastian Rogers, know about his disappearance, if anything? I'm Deception Detective. I'm an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exists to expose lies and manipulation. Today, we'll watch the Proudfoots' very first interview, which they gave about a week after Sebastian was reported missing, and we'll be looking for signs of guilty knowledge. This video is part of my ongoing Sebastian Rogers series, and if you've been following along, you'll know I've avoided analyzing the Proudfoots for over a month now, and that's for 3 reasons. The first is I was hoping to interview the Proudfoots. I made multiple offers to them, but I've not heard back, so we're going to analyze them here today. The second reason is I think other analysts like Pat Brown and Peter Hyatt have already done a great job.
Okay, I'm going to pause right here real quick because IML says I'm confused with all of this. Also, the At Night, if they still work together. Nerdy Attic has not worked with them, from what I understand. The lady that was now analyzing everything with Katie and with Chris had already previously done all that and was telling the process she went through, and she did find them to be deceptive. He's now saying he's working with At Night, but if you look very closely, he adds a K into the spelling, and At Night has no K. It's all a ploy. This is all a game. Can you drop a link for me? You want to come up, TJ? Is that what you're saying? Trying to figure out what TJ's talking about. TJ just don't come up. That's it, Rebel Red. $1 million question. Where is Sebastian Rogers? Everything he's putting out, I do not believe is going to help Sebastian in any way. All it's doing is boasting Chris Proudfoot. He has no intention to talk to Seth and to get Seth's side. And that's where I have a problem. Yeah, Kai. Deception Detective is very easy to look at. Yes, yes. Okay, I got you. Guys, this is the deal. For your protection, for my protection, for this channel's protection, if at any time you want to mention another channel, please use initials or some way to describe what the channel's, something to describe that channel without saying it, please. And it's sad that we have to be that way, But guys, we're working with people who look for any little tiny thing to attack. I don't want any of you guys being attacked because somebody in chat put something. And that's what my mods are trying to get across. So that's why I'm trying to, I'm taking this opportunity, so if you're going to mention someone or a channel, be very, very cautious. I have seen the other side sit and watch people's chats. And it's not that we're being ugly or mean or disrespectful towards anyone in chat. It's just that I want y'all all to be protected. And it's absolutely sad that we even have to do that. There you go. So I hope you all understand what that's all about. Even if they're good, bad, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just these days with this case, you got to watch your back, folks. And when I tell you be careful out on these streets, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Be very cautious because they will all sit there, listen to every word I say, and somebody is watching every word y'all say. It's crazy. And so that's why we do that. And while we're paused, let's go ahead and just put it out for facts, okay? Because this is another crazy thing we have to do these days. Myself, along with moderators, subscribers, and anyone in chat express their opinion. On this channel, we present speculation, possibilities, and show things found for everyone to decide for themselves what opinion they have. We're not here for help. Let me rephrase that. We are here for helpful purposes only. We're not here for drama, hate, or anything negative. Please respect all opinions. And my content is not to be used in a negative way at any time. And that is a disclosure I put out for your protection, my protection, and our channel's protection. And it is so crazy that we have to even do that. Daisy, girl, thank you so much. If you were gifted a membership at any time today, please make sure to tell our beautiful Daisy thank you for that, because she is so gracious to do that. And to our new member, welcome to the South.
Welcome, welcome to the South. We break that good stuff down. We got enough to go around, so can I get a amen in there? Welcome to the South.
Yeah, Lisa, I'm so sorry, but that's how insane crazy it is. Lisa says, I know I have had one channel say something to me about a comment I made in your chat. Now she won't speak to me. People are very touchy, a little too touchy, if you ask me, but that's just my opinion, guys. Just my opinion. But that's, kind of how goes right along with what I just said. They watch, they pay attention. Even some channels that you would think are on the good side. It's crazy to me. I'm on Sebastian's side, guys. I hope each and every one of you are on Sebastian's side, because that's the reason we're here. Something happened to that young man, because there is no evidence he ever walked away from his home. You are 100% right on that, Lainey. Drama is a distraction. And there are some that do that stuff a whole lot better than the rest of us. But I want you guys to be safe. I don't want to, I want to be safe. I want our channel to be good. I want us to thrive and to grow and do good. You're right, wild child. There should only be a Sebastian side. Yeah. Tina Girl said, I'm on Seth's side too. He also needs an army behind him as well. This is what I'm going to say. I have looked into Seth, I have looked into KK, and I have looked into the stepfather. Seth, to me, is the only one who has not sat down and outright lied to all of our faces. Seth is the one that is working hard to find his son, unlike the other two. I see Seth speaking vocally to anybody who wants to listen, and the other side is very picky and peculiar with who they speak to, and you gotta be someone that's gonna stroke that ego. Oh, well, KK don't speak anymore because she pleaded the fifth, so there's that, right? So yeah, I see it as if you're on Sebastian's side, you basically are on Seth's side. But there should not be a division between I believe Seth or I believe Christopher. We're here for a child that's missing. That should be it. End of story. But the hate overspills every which way. And I'm not afraid because, folks, all the bad will come to light one day. I honestly 100% believe that with my entire heart. Bobby, I happen to agree with you, Bobby. I really do. Botox can't fix what's wrong with her. Yeah, Botox ain't gonna erase your memories. That's for sure. The memories of what happened that night. When that lady on the panel the other night said, there is such a huge bond between Sebastian and his mother, and you could just see that clear as day at Texas Roadhouse. Y'all, I about spit out my Pepsi. I was taking a drink of my Pepsi about that time. I was like, huh? And I literally rewound just enough to make sure I heard the word she said. And the only thing I could figure is, does she have a different video that we watched? Because the one we watch, Katie has a connection with her phone. KK has a connection with people walking around that place. And she sure as hell was not bonding with her child. Folks, my kids are grown adults. They have their kids. We all go out to eat. There is no phones allowed. Nobody has time to be sitting on a phone. We're all talking, laughing, cutting up, giggling, having a good time because we do have a bond. And if it's just me and my daughter going to lunch or me and my son going to lunch, there's conversation happening there. Neither one of us are on our phones. And if that's how she bonded with her son, folks, that spoke volumes for me. And, it was right after that that he mentioned Barbecue, Stephen Crabtree, and a couple of others. So I was like, God, now it's all making sense. It's a little crazy. Well, let's listen to see how close he is to the person who analyzed KK and Chris that spoke on the panel last night. Told her version of what she saw, and yet the whole other side was making excuses for every bit of it. There's no way to make excuses for people who are deceptive. It makes you just as bad as them. So here we go. Let's listen some more, folks.
Analyzing the Proudfoots. And the third reason is something that's unique to me, which I've talked about in the DD forum, and we'll go over that in this video. Without further ado, let's listen.
Can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
Oh, the laugh.
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions.
The laugh she did right there. I don't know. I'm not an expert. If you're hurting that bad, if you're worried that much, the little laugh gesture, folks, I've never seen it ever in my entire lifetime. I was just, it was uncalled for.
All in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this.
You notice Mr. Chris said it won't stop till he walks in the door and he looks down and to the left. His eyes stayed that way. I got a question for Mr. Chris. Can Sebastian still walk? Is he able to walk today? He knows, guys. It's my opinion that he knows.
Not anyone. Not anyone.
The only statement I've ever agreed with KK on is I would never wish anyone to have to live life without their children. No mother should ever, no father should ever have to live a day without their child. Yeah, Diana, I agree. There's the look that says he won't walk through a door at any time. I agree with you. And something that I have always noticed. Guys, remember, I have shared my story with you when we lost our son. My husband and I at the time were having a hard time. But any time I began to cry, his arm was around me. He was holding my hand. He was holding me together. We ended up divorcing. But all of that didn't matter during that time. He was there to hold me up, to hold me together, to help me through that. And there's no body contact that we ever see between Katie and Chris. Yeah, Lainey, I agree with you 100%. But that is my analysis for every video I've seen them in as they talk about Sebastian, and they have made you think that they are completely distraught. At no time do they hold on to each other.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna
Always.
come home.
One thing I don't like with interviewers is when they provide answers to the interviewee. So what we're watching now is the unedited cut of the first interview the Proudfoots did with a local news station, I think WSMV4. And it's recorded in 4 parts. So even though this one's just 5 minutes, there's like 3 other parts that we'll look at. The issue with an interviewer providing the answer to the question is that we don't hear what the parents are saying or what they would have said without that feedback. And it's important for us to hear that because there are 7 things we look for when parents of missing children get the opportunity to go onto the news or speak to a YouTuber or do an interview. And I'll just go over those here so you can bear them in mind as we listen.
Guys, I'm pausing here so that if you're on your phone, TV, whatever, take a screenshot of this. This is a checklist that they look for. This is something for each and every one of us to hang on to have that knowledge each and every time we have a new case. Because this is what they go by. Oh, Retha, thank you, sweetheart. It's friends like you that help me keep going.
This is my list. You can find it in the DD forum. I've used it across multiple cases on the channel, from the McCanns to the Wells, to William Tyrrell's foster parents, to Jen Soto. And I've not updated it in a very long time because it's so predictive. So here's what we look for. We want the parents to speak about the kid in the present tense. We want the parents to be cooperative. So if they get asked a question, they do their best to answer the question and not over answer, right? So they answer what they're asked, but they're not trying to push a narrative. Like the McCanns pushing the narrative of kidnapping.
Like KK pushing the narrative that Sebastian ran away. I don't know why he walked out that door. And Mr. Chris saying he walked out onto my front porch and poof, disappeared. At what time in the human life, in a human form, does a person just disappear off a front porch? It makes no sense. They're oversharing to set a narrative.
When they're asked what could have happened. Third is the parents are inconclusive. So if the parents say 100%, my kid was kidnapped without any evidence that someone broke into the house, or in this case, they say my kid walked away or ran away without any evidence that the kid did that, it's a red flag. Fourth, if the kid is missing and the parents are on TV, we can expect them to address a kidnapper. So even if they're not sure the kid was kidnapped, they don't know what actually happened. So we can expect them to at least look into the camera and say, if you have my son, Sebastian, please return him to us. We won't pursue you. Just drop him off at a police station. Fifth, we can expect parents to address the child through the camera. Since they don't know what happened to their kid, for all they know, the kid is watching. So they'll take that opportunity to speak to the kid. Sebastian, we know you're out there. If you're watching this, we love you. We're going to find you. Sixth, the parents ask for help. That's the entire point of these appearances. If the parents don't ask.
Have we heard KK and Mr. Chris ask for help? All they want us to do is pass out flyers unless it's inconvenient and during a festival they're really looking forward to and wanting to enjoy, right? Pass out flyers. Just don't do it at Pigfest. To me, that's about as telling as you can get.
Ask for help. It means A, that they might know the kid is beyond any help. They might know the kid is already dead. Or it might mean they have an ulterior motive. They're not necessarily doing this interview to help find their kid. They're doing it to push a narrative, or they're doing it to clear their own name. Either way, they have some other agenda, and that's not expected if your kid is missing.
Bingo. Bingo. Bingo, red flag, bomb, mic drop, all the things he just described Katie and Chris.
And seventh, there's a call to action. So if the parents have to be prompted to say, if you see my kid, call 911, or if they have to be prompted to describe their kid or ask for help, it means that, once again, their appearance was not about finding the kid. There was some ulterior motive, and we need to figure out what that was.
Every interview they do, they are asked, please, describe Sebastian to us. What do you want people to know? What are your thoughts? They're having to be asked, but they're never, ever at one time are they coming on here and all the stuff and actually push the thought that we want our child home, so please help us. If you see anything, call 911. This is what he looks like. This is what he does. This is his typical mannerism. Never, ever do they volunteer any of that. Not ever. And that is so telling on so many levels. Jen, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. Guys, if y'all were one of the lucky people that got gifted a membership, please tell Jen thank you, because that was so gracious of her. And to our new members, welcome to the South, y'all.
Welcome. Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get an amen? Welcome to the South.
Thank you, Jen. That was so gracious of you. I appreciate it. I'm so excited for having some new members. That is amazing. Guys, that is the most amazing way ever to help the channel. It just really helps in so many ways. So thank you all for being so gracious with that. Okay, let's keep going, girls and
All right, let's keep
boys.
listening.
He's going to walk through that door. And the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
So here we are, 8 days now searching.
You notice they say all the things and then they look so solemn. It's crazy. They tell on themselves, in my opinion.
For him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you." Say goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed. And when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
When I woke him up from school, for school, he wasn't there. How do you wake up someone if they're not there? I've always asked that question. We're going to go back just a tad. Listen to how she says that again. She doesn't say, when I went in to wake him up, he wasn't there. She said, when I woke him up, he wasn't there.
And when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
When I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. That's an interesting statement, and lots of people have commented that on my previous videos, saying that the mom said that. And it is a strange statement, because if someone's not there, you can't wake them up for school. If she said I went into his room to wake him up for school and discovered he wasn't there, that would make more sense. So why did she say that? It could be that this story is fabricated, right? So your imagination is a lot weaker than your memories. So if you scripted a story of what you did that morning, let's say she and Chris sat down and said, okay, here's what you're going to say. You're going to say you went into his room to wake him up for school. He wasn't there. You panicked. That could explain a small mess up like that, where she says something that doesn't technically make sense. Kind of like how the McCann said, well, we went into Madeline's room and found her not there. It doesn't make sense. You don't find something that's not there. You might realize she wasn't there, or you might find an empty bed, but you don't find someone who's not there. And there's a whole analysis behind that if you want to watch my McCann's playlist. But suffice to say, that is a strange statement. I recognize it as such, but we need multiple signs of scripting before we feel more comfortable accusing people of having scripted a story. So let's keep listening. And then we'll get into that third reason why I've put off analyzing these parents for so long.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
6.
So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower?
I took a
in the living
second.
room?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was
A second, guys, just a second. She just took a second.
trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him.
Here's another thing that we're going to notice a lot as they talk and as we go through all of their interviews. And this is because of you guys, right? So if you're part of the DD forum, I read all your posts. If you're a member of the channel, I read all your comments. If you're a subscriber, I read all your comments. And lots of people have pointed out to me the number 3. Lots of the times or locations or amounts that the Proudfoots talk about involve the number 3. And that is an important detail. And 3 is actually known as the liar's number. So I'm going to read you that card from the Deception deck. If you're not familiar, the Deception deck is my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and deception. And you can buy it at deceptiondeck.com. So I'm going to read you the card for the number 3, which is in the deck. Here's the card. Each card in the deck is a flashcard. So it has the rule on the front, and then on the back it has the explanation of the rule as well as a real world example. So this is the card for 3. And I'll just read you the rule. Liars often use the number 3 in their statements. If a statement includes a 3, like 3 p.m., 3rd floor, $300,000, 3 minutes, it might be fabricated. The reason why people use the number 3 is unknown. There's lots of different studies into why that happens. But for us, for our purposes, it is a human phenomenon. When people are lying or making up a story, if they need to pick a number out of thin air, they typically pick the number 3. Kind of like if people are asked their lucky number, they usually pick the number 7. So the fact that she said she was on the phone with Chris for 3 minutes or within 3 minutes, does that mean she's lying? Not necessarily, but we need to be on alert for it. So I'm going to rewind here. Let's listen again.
About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him.
All right, so 3 minutes in, give or take, I called my husband. Does that mean she's lying? Not necessarily. It could just be she's guessing about how long it took, right? So people don't actually have to be trying to deceive you to pick the number 3, but it does tell us that she's being a little bit loose with the facts. She's not doing her best to be specific unless it literally was 3 minutes. And the way she said it.
Folks, at any time, there is never a reason to only look 3 minutes and then call your husband so he can call the cops and all the things. You're going to look all over the house. That's going to take you about 5 minutes to look in everywhere, do all the things, go outside, look around. It's going to take a little longer than 3 minutes, I would think. Daisy, thank you for gifting a membership. Girl, you're crazy. Thank you so much. If you were the lucky person, please tell our beautiful Daisy Dukes thank you, because that was so gracious of her. And once again, welcome to the South.
Welcome, welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a amen, nigga? Welcome to the South.
Welcome to our new member. Thank you so much, Daisy. Love you, girl. Y'all, I'm sure you heard my phone ring a while ago. That was my granddaughter. I thought I'd share this little tidbit just to get in a little funny humor. My granddaughter is downstairs at the moment in her room. She video calls me to tell me she's too lazy to come up the stairs. She missed me and just wanted to see my face. She is so silly. But I apologize for all the noise there for a minute. So I think the number 3 here is very peculiar because we have a 3-hour phone call. We have search for only 3 minutes. There's several times that 3 comes into play, like Mr. Chris telling us it takes him 3 hours to get to work.
It sounded like it was a guesstimate. So this could either be fabricated, like she took longer to call Chris, or her call with Chris was scheduled ahead of time. You know, something happened to Sebastian the night before, and she and Chris spoke, and he said, okay, at this time, you're going to call me. So she's saying, yeah, it took about 3 minutes to look for Sebastian because she wasn't actually looking for Sebastian. That's possible.
He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
And so at that point, is that when you call 911 or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, you know, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her, so
Yes,
you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm
At work. His famous alibi. He was at work. Of course, we know his boss has already told us they don't start work till 7. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to be sitting in the parking lot for an hour, right? But he got to be at work because there's no way he could have been there at the 3 a.m. lights and be at work that early. It's part of his alibi, guys. Daisy, look at you, girl. If you were that lucky person that got another membership, thank you so much. Welcome to the South.
Welcome, welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a payment if welcome to the South.
I don't know if it was glitching on y'all, but it was glitching on my end. That's crazy. Thank you, Daisy. You're precious. And welcome to our new member. Please tell Daisy thank you. Rusty Pops, welcome, welcome. We will be having a live this week coming up. We got some new people to join us. That is so exciting. Thank you. But yeah, remember, Mr. Chris was at work. That's part of his alibi. He's got to have that. Thank y'all.
tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's, you know, I have an earpiece in.
You know, he's got to overshare here. Remember what Deception Detective talked about, the oversharing? He's got to set his alibi in stone. Let's get it out there. We got to do that because if he wasn't at work, he might be linked to that 3 a.m. video time.
And talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, I was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be. And then we went from there and led to calling the cops. And here we are now.
Within minutes, they're there at the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars.
They
They
lied
had cars from here down to the
to the main road.
road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, oh, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away.
This is another interesting statement that I've seen brought up a lot. My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. It's a very specific denial. So first of all, okay, fine. He's not a runner, but could he have walked out the door? Could he have been pushed out the door?
Kelly East says, so were a lot of earpieces that night, right? KK put on an earpiece when she got in the car at the Texas Roadhouse. Mob Crew showed that, brought that out for all to see. There was something going on with that earpiece. We always seem to get a little bit of truth in there, don't we?
I know that Peter Hyatt has a theory that they locked him outside as a form of punishment, and then he might have wandered off or something happened to him. That wouldn't require him to run. He could literally just be pushed out the door or walk out the door. So saying he's not a runner could be 100% true, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't put out and walked off or wandered off due to their negligence.
Negligence? What? He calling it like he sees it. Bobby, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so sweet. Thank you so much. Guys, y'all are so kind today. Thank you. That is amazing. I need to get a thank you little thing to put up. I kind of combined it with our little member welcome, but then I was like, oh no. Now I got to figure out something for a thank you because y'all deserve it. Y'all are so sweet. So yeah, due to their negligence, Sebastian is no longer to be seen. I believe that 100%.
Or to escape abuse. You don't have to run away to get away from an abusive parent. You can walk away. So that is an interesting thing that she brings up. And also, I've seen clips of them saying he walked out that door conclusively. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe he did walk out the door. But maybe he walked out because he was told to, or because there was a threat of punishment if he didn't step outside the door. So that could all be 100% true. The other main thing here is when they talk about him walking out the door, it's very conclusive. How do they know he wasn't kidnapped? How do they know he didn't, someone didn't knock on his window and have him come out and then close the window behind him and trick him like a predator, tricking him out of the house, kidnapping him, taking him?
Because they know. It is 100% my opinion. They know. That's why, let's see. Lainey says, it skipped here. Hold on, Lainey. I'm going to read yours. It skipped again. Dadgum. I disagree with him about the running thing because as an autism mom, I would have used that wording too. I agree because it seems like any mom that has an autistic child, there are those that are they call them like a runner. And so I'm with you on that. I think his point was more to the fact that you're believing that he took off and ran away here. You're putting it as that's what happened. When, how do they know is more to the point. How do they know he just ran out that door and just ran away? How do they know? They put it out so very to the point. This is what happened. But I believe the words they use in the finality of their wording, they don't say anything to the fact that, we think he might have ran away, but then again, somebody could have came and got him. Day one, he ran out the door. End of story. End of story. So why is it just that he ran away if they didn't know?
How do they know he went out the door and not the window, right? So there is some conclusiveness here that is concerning. Now, obviously, we're only 4 minutes into an interview, but I'm pointing all these things out because these should add up over time. If we see them fail, all 7 of these things on our checklist, we can place more chips on our bet that they know what happened to him.
Way before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
I don't know why he walked out the door. That one sentence alone always bothered me because supposedly she was asleep. So how does she know he didn't climb, like he said, climb out the window because somebody was there luring him out and they shut the window and went on? But they have finalized it down to the fact that he walked out through that door. So why is it that they make it final he's out there? He did this on his own. Because they wanted everybody to believe it, in my opinion. They wanted everybody to think that this young man just ran away. Because there would be no way for them to prove he was kidnapped. So let's overlook that. Let's just make it as if he ran away, but they forgot all about the shoes.
Again, I don't know why he walked out the door. But how does she know if he walked out? The question should be, I don't know what happened to him. She doesn't know why he walked out the door, but she does know if he walked out the door. And this is where Peter Hyatt and Pat Brown's analysis makes a lot of sense to me. And I recommend subscribing to their channels. I've recommended both of them in my member section for a very long time because I think they do great work. I personally have put off analyzing these parents myself, however, because of the way that I approach true crime and the sort of Bayesian thinking that I do. So let's wrap up this first segment, and then I'll go over that and how I think about these things, and also how you can use Bayesian thinking as a tool to make better decisions when you're analyzing suspects, but also just better decisions in general in your own life.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means. But there's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately, and we just don't have that.
You think back, and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I haven't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
Notice how the constant question they have is why he walked out. That's what they're saying they don't know. They're not saying they don't know whether or not he walked out. So I think it's safe to assume they know for a fact that he walked out that front door. And the question is, of course, did he walk out because he wanted to be a teen runaway, or because he was being abused, or because he was pushed outside as a form of punishment? I think that's what this all boils down to at this point, because they seem certain that he walked out the door. Now, could they be hoaxing? Could they be saying that he went out that door because they did something else to him and they want us to believe he walked out the door? Yes. But the fact that they're slipping up by saying that they know he went out, they just don't know why, seems to indicate that they're trying to hide the fact that they know for sure he went out the door.
Behaving. It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or he'd been in trouble, but he wouldn't have been in trouble. So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
What about social media? Is there anything that, anyone he could have contacted? Understand he was somewhat of a gamer, or what was he? There was a video game he loved, right?
Minecraft. He loves Minecraft. the game that he has is not online. He has the Switch.
We don't, because of how social media can be, he doesn't have accessibility to communicate with folks.
We now know, guys, that Sebastian was so locked down he couldn't hardly breathe. He had no privacy whatsoever. His father told us he didn't even have a doorknob on his door. He couldn't go into his room and be in a safe place in his own home. They stripped him of everything. He couldn't even walk away or walk down in the school with someone new. He couldn't even do that. Because once he saw Mr. Chris, he instantly knew he was in trouble. That's how sad it is.
On the internet.
On the internet. I mean, we have a firm belief that we just don't feel that right now he's capable of having that kind of responsibility.
Mhm.
So, I mean, his phone is locked down, his computers, his game. He doesn't have a gamer tag. He doesn't have online capabilities with games. I mean,
We've combed every electronic.
I mean, we've cooperated with all the authorities as far as anything they've asked us to provide, we've provided.
So far, they're speaking about him in the present tense. They seem to be trying to be cooperative. They are a little bit conclusive about him walking out that door. So they have zero curiosity about whether or not he was kidnapped or went out the window or did something else.
Okay, speaking of the word kidnapped, I want to go back here. Let me share this with you real quick because it was Katie's father who made a post on Facebook on the FBI wanted, missing persons thing. And it's Dave Payne that said something he misunderstood on his first post he made there. But the second he says, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. My grandson was kidnapped about a year ago. Who told him Sebastian was kidnapped? Where does the word kidnap come from, KK? Is that the version you told your family? Just wondering, because that's the only time we've ever heard Sebastian and kidnap in the same story.
Which is why I think they know for a fact he went out that door. It's just about figuring out why that happened. They've not addressed any potential kidnappers. They've not addressed him through the camera yet. They've not asked for help, and they've not done any sort of call to action yet. And that might just be because they think this portion of the interview is background. But I think the actual interview that was shown on the news was clipped from this.
And still just don't have any answers.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
Now, you recall in the very first interview they did, they told us how he had no friends. All he wanted for Christmas and for his birthday was friends. But yet we find out over time, kids like Sebastian. He did have friends. Of course, he wasn't allowed to bring them home. He wasn't even allowed to go to their house. He wasn't allowed to interact with them on social media or any of those things. Diana says, Lolly, her face flushed and her eyes red. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to read chat on my phone and it keeps jumping. I believe she is remembering the details of what they did to Sebastian. I agree with you. And I agree that every time Mr. Chris says something and he looks left, I honestly pray thoughts go back into their head. I know, Lady for Justice, the first time I ever saw it, or heard of the word kidnap was where Katie's dad put that under the FBI missing poster of Sebastian. That's a comment that got put in there. Yeah, they could have been allowing him some breathing room with his social media stuff and still have a little parental control. But unfortunately for Sebastian, he was so locked down, he couldn't even breathe.
So this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why.
Okay, I'm going to go back just a tad. I want you to hear Chris when she's talking about him just vanishing, no idea, nothing, blah, blah, blah. Yes, ma'am. Chris is very strong with those two words. Listen to how he says that.
With this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why. All right. So let's talk to you about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well,
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
right? And how would you describe?
If you've not followed along on this series, I have analyzed the biological father, Seth Rogers, in my video, How to Tell Innocent from Guilty. We analyzed him along these exact same criteria, and he came out squeaky clean.
What? I sure hope the other side paid attention to that. I mean, he didn't have Botox. So he still came out squeaky clean. That's because an innocent father who is desperately trying to find his son and going to every length possible to make sure the right people are on his son's case is actually innocent. And then we have these two who continue to show deception. Now, are they guilty of doing anything horrible to Sebastian? I can't say that. But these two people right here, they know something. His mother knows. If she had absolutely no idea whatsoever about what happened to her son, there would have been no need for her to plead the fifth. And that is exactly what she has done.
Describe that relationship, the two of them and the four of you.
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy. And I mean, he doesn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
In two different households, and the communication between the three of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
Now, this is early on in the case, folks, where the contact was all good. They all worked right along beside each other best they could. Had respect for each other, it seemed. They did the best they could. Nothing's ever going to be a perfect relationship when there's a divorce involved in a remarriage and things like that. But they seem to make it work. I give them all credit for that. But like I said, that was early on because Seth didn't want to play their game, didn't want to go by their rules. on what to do and not to do and all the things. Seth wanted questions answered. Seth wanted to know things. They didn't want Seth to know those things. They didn't want Seth to ask those questions. And of course, Mr. Chris is the one that was very vocal that if Seth didn't learn to shut his mouth, he may not ever be able to open it again. A outright verbal threat on a social media platform. Yeah, they did. They told CPS that Sebastian's father was not in his life. And instead of CPS going and checking all the things for themselves to verify the words of these two people here who the cases were against, they didn't do that. They took their word, the abuser's word, and the child ultimately has paid the price, I'm afraid.
Let's talk about Sebastian. Tell me about Sebastian. How would you describe him?
Sweet, stubborn. He loves to help. He loves running, and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh, God, he loves music.
An eclectic taste.
Probably
An eclectic. I mean, from as everybody knows, Eye of the Tiger to Eddie Vedder.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So we got Pearl Jam on one hand, we've got Survivor on the other over here. We've got Taylor Swift, and
He's got a big crush on her. I mean, country, rock.
no hip-hop.
Classic.
We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really
Well, I
get
say
into it
rap and
anyways.
things.
You mentioned he loved running. So did he love the outdoors at all? I mean, would something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be?
So Chris says they don't allow hip hop. He also said that the phone was locked down, no internet. So they seem like strict parents.
Enticing to him or pull him outdoors?
He loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser. And every year he was, I did this many laps. I did this many laps. I mean, I've got t-shirts where they would write on his back every time the kids went around.
Now she's talking about the days when they lived in California. That was almost 8 years prior. 7 years ago is what she's talking about. Back when Sebastian was doing things and being active and all the stuff, he was so locked down that his room was the only place he had to go to.
They'd mark a mark on the back and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back.
Also note, this is like the third time the mom has talked about Sebastian running. First, she said he's not a runner, as in he runs away from home. But then earlier when they were talking about what he likes, she said he likes running. And now she's going into this anecdote about him running laps. What is she saying? She might be trying to tell us that he might have gone far, that maybe he did run away, and he might be further than people expect.
Lainey, I agree with you. She says they have no happy memories in Tennessee, in my opinion. Not in their house. I agree with you. Diana says back when he was hurt in their care. Again, yes. Yes. The two worst things that could ever happen to a child happened to Sebastian under their roof, not his father's at all.
He likes playgrounds. He hates being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Yeah, he's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
He loves animals.
The kid that's not the one that likes to get dirty. He doesn't like the mud. We've been told he doesn't like, critters and stuff. But we're supposed to believe them that he left his home without his shoes. No phone, no jacket, no blanket, no food, no nothing. But yeah, we're supposed to believe he left home with no shoes on. And he went out the door that had 3 pairs of his shoes sitting there. They didn't think this thing through very good, did they?
Animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
even a fly, and he's like,
He's highly functioning. I know you all have described him as having a form of autism,
he does.
but just describe that to our viewers too, as far as his way of thinking of things and maybe how determined he was about certain things or his mindset.
he
He's got a stubborn mindset. If he believes it's this,
he gets on a one-man track, and he is just
Yeah.
on it, and he is all about it.
but I mean, he's very smart.
He's
I mean,
not-
he can play chess. He can beat adults in chess.
Wow.
So he's
he loves playing games.
What about navigation? Like, did he have a sense of direction? Do you think he could have possibly even hitched a ride or gotten a ride on a bus or some sort of transportation?
Oh, Lady for Justice. Yes, she was. And I believe I showed it yesterday. Let me see if I still have it up. Oh, Lord, my granddaughter. Hold on, guys, just 1 second. Okay, I apologize. She was calling this time to let me know dinner was ready. Lady Justice, check this out. I found this not too long ago. I will tell her you said hi. This shows the house, all the stats, and if you notice how it shows the amount. And let me see if I can get to it real quick so I can pull it up larger and I can see it on my phone. Estimated value of the house was $637,000. Total equity $19,160. Last sell amount $41,000. That's how these people do these real estate flipping schemes. Owner is the occupant of the home. Make that one make sense. All right, let's get to listening to some more of this.
that is a speculation that we don't have an answer for. Just
I mean-
directionally, he knows he could guide you from our house to his dad's house.
Yeah.
He could get from like this house. I think he can make it up to Culver's ice cream.
He can go to Culver's.
Oh, boy,
He
loves
knows
malt.
where Culver's is because Culver's has malt.
Uh-huh.
He loves malt, extra malt. Every time, extra malt.
Now, how far away does his dad live?
Clarksville. His dad lives up by Clarksville.
So he could guide someone all the way to Clarksville.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Okay. So a pretty keen sense of direction, at least with certain things.
Familiar routes.
Yes.
Familiar routes. Okay.
Familiar routes.
And if I took him another route going
He
this way,
takes
he would
it-
not know it.
He goes up there so often that he knows how to get to his daddy's. We know that.
His dad works with him as far as, well, we're going this way, we're going that way, and
Mhm.
keeps the same thing.
One of the things I like about this is that they're not trying to push a narrative.
No, however, they're saying outright that Sebastian knows how to get to his daddy's house, but yet they didn't call to ask his dad, did he show up there? They never called Seth and said, hey, has Sebastian called you? Is he coming your way? Have you heard anything? That would be the smart thing to do if their child ran away. Would he be trying to make his way to his dad's house? That would be the first thing a person would think about. Yep. But Lainey, you are 100% mad, 100% right. Don't be mad. But Sebastian's missing. you would have thought he would have said, "Hey, buddy, have you heard from Sebastian? Because we can't find him." Thought maybe he was coming your way. Nope, not at all. Never once did they assume Sebastian was headed to his dad's. It is 100% my opinion that question never got asked to Seth because these two know exactly where he is. And they were playing a script and didn't seem to think about the obvious. Let's make it look like he actually did run away by asking his dad, "Have you seen him? Has he came your way?" Nope. He's gone. Don't be mad. We lost him.
So if you've seen my Well series, you know they were pushing the kidnapping narrative. No matter what the question was, they tried to bring it back to a kidnapping. Or the McCanns, no matter what the question was, is could this be possible? Is that possible? It would always, they found a way to push it back to a kidnapping narrative. Same with William Turrell. In all of those cases, when I saw how they were pushing the kidnapping story, I was confident in saying that the parents knew what happened and that they were responsible for what happened to the kid because they were pushing the kidnapping narrative. In this case, while they have not addressed any kidnappers or addressed Sebastian in the camera yet, or even asked for help, or even described him yet, they are being cooperative and they're answering all the questions the reporter is asking them. Now, with that said, a lot has come out about the Proudfoots and how they treated Sebastian, and in other interviews where they said sort of belittling things about him, questioning his manhood. And I think that those details have biased people against the Proudfoots more than what's warranted. And that's the reason I've put off analyzing the Proudfoots with the hopes that Sebastian would turn up before I did this. However, I've offered to interview them. They have not taken me up on it. My members have voted 2 weeks in a row for me to analyze them. My last video hit 50K. So my audience, you guys are my number one priority. So I'm going to give you the videos that you want and try to teach you the lessons that I think will help you in your everyday life. So why did I put off analyzing the Proudfoots? I'm going to explain that to you in a way that I explained it in the forum by asking you 2 questions, and then I'll break it down. The first question is, so answer this question. Here it is. Amy, a fictional character, is an autistic teenager living with her mother and stepfather, Stan. Amy has been missing for over a month. Stan, who has a history of domestic abuse, did not immediately contact the police after Amy's disappearance. Based on this information, which of these 2 options is more likely? Option number 1, Amy ran away, or option number 2, Amy was killed by Stan. Most of my subscribers and followers on X voted for Amy was killed by Stan, 77% in fact. So now answer this question. Amy, a fictional character, is a teenager. Amy has been missing for over a month. Based on this information, which of the following outcomes do you find more likely? Amy ran away or Amy was murdered? When I left out the details about Stan and Amy's disability, 58% answered Amy ran away and only 41% answered Amy was murdered. And the correct answer in both situations is Amy ran away. Because the question is, which of these is more likely given the details that we have? So even though it's more likely, for example, for a stepfather with a disabled child to abuse that child than it is for a biological father to abuse a non-disabled child, it doesn't flip the base rates of teenagers running away versus teenagers getting killed by their parents. So the base rates are, there's 1.5 million teenage runaways every year compared to just 500 annual filicides where a parent kills their kid. So the ratio is 3,000 to 1 that the kid ran away rather than was murdered. And what happens is when we get biasing details like the stepfather had a criminal record, or the stepfather's really mean, or he only does interviews with people he can bully, or he just seems like a nasty guy, those little details can bias our analysis. And we actually forget to consider the base rates because we're biased by those details. And you can see that people understood the base rates when I left out those details. So if you're betting on a case where there is no body, it is a teenager, no matter how mean the parents are, or if they even have a criminal record of abuse, or they say nasty things about the kid, more likely than not, the kid ran away. The odds are 3,000 to 1. Let's listen closely and see if there's anything else that we're going to factor into.
19 months later, we've learned the fact that there is no evidence showing that Sebastian ever left his home. 19 months later, with all of the searches that have been done in covering 44,000 acres surrounding his house, there is no sign of Sebastian. That does come to play as to whether he ran away or something else happened. He had to have left that home because he was not there. So when was the last time he was actually in that home? They're spilling out this narrative to us that he came home from Texas Roadhouse that night. But the question lingers, did he really? Because there is no evidence he ever made it home. So many questions just hang around over this case. And there's no answers at all. I do 100% believe Katie holds the key to every bit of this. And the reason I say that, guys, is because we see her leave Texas Roadhouse with her son in her car, in the front seat, right beside her. So if he did not make it home, Katie had to know, because she had to be able to stop for him to get out of the car and go with someone else. If she drove him all the way to their house, pulled in the garage, and he got out of the car and went in the house, he somehow left that home without being on any camera, seen anywhere around that neighborhood. How does that happen? Cameras were jammed, some were fried, but there were still cameras all around that area. There were cameras leaving outside of that neighborhood. Had he made it outside of that neighborhood, cameras were all over the place. He didn't have shoes on. He wasn't going to be in the woods barefooted. We see this young man in a clean, crystal clear swimming pool. And he had swim shoes on. His feet were not some country kid type of feet where they went barefooted all the time and their feet were adjusted to walking on things barefooted. When you sit down and put it all out in front of you, it's crystal clear, folks. Oh, Brenda Sue, thank you. I don't want his mother to be guilty of something. I don't want his stepfather to be guilty of something. I don't want to think that Sebastian's life was a living hell at 1008 Stafford Court. I don't want none of that. But I also have to call it for what it is. And when you get all these facts laid out, the pieces to the puzzle just slide together real easy. Deception Detective just showed us the whole part where when you factor in an abusive step parent, people automatically go there. We've heard this man. We've heard his anger issues. We've heard him explode into a rage because he didn't like a lady that talked about his son's or his missing stepson in the case. Folks, I'm meaner to Chris than Brittany J ever thought about doing. But because his friends on the other side don't like her, he felt entitled to go into a rage and tell the woman to start a shotgun. How are we supposed to not look at him side-eyed? How is it that we're supposed to believe he's innocent when he does these things himself? He doesn't help himself when it comes to Sebastian's case. His history speaks volumes when it comes to, excuse me, talking about Sebastian's case. Katie put herself in that home that night. Katie herself put her there in that home, locked all up, all the doors locked when her son went missing. And yet, we're supposed to believe the two lights had nothing to do with Sebastian just hours before he's reported missing, when one of those single light sources goes directly back to their house where she was locked inside just 3 hours later. All alone. But we're not supposed to question that, I guess. Guys, we can sit here every day and trash these two people and use their words to do it. I don't fabricate stuff. I don't say, oh, it's my opinion. Oh my goodness. You tell Miss Keeley I said hello and I love her. Thank you, Kelly. That just made my night. But I don't sit here and make up stuff about them. I don't know them. And in order for me to speak about them, I have to listen to them. Just like Seth, I don't know him. All I can talk about Seth is the words he uses and what he says in his actions. And folks, it's plain as day. We're looking at complete opposites. They're completely opposite when it comes to Sebastian's case. They're completely opposite as people. The people we see on social media, they don't help. These two don't help themselves. And for a mother to hire a lawyer to protect her against herself from incriminating herself, that doesn't shout out to me innocent, plain as day. Not at all. Never will. In no way possible. But yet we have the whole other side who won't even speak to Seth and ask him questions, but they're going to accuse him of things. We've been dealing with the same thing for 19 months, folks. It's not gotten any better. If anything, it's only gotten worse. And it is 100% my opinion that all the crap that gets put out to make Seth look horrible is intentional. It's a distraction. It's to throw shade at Seth so nobody's looking over here at KK and at Chris. I mean, hey, they got to have some peace and quiet while they're on their vacations. Remember, folks. Yeah, she will. She will after she eats, maybe. That girl eating her food right now. But I'll go get me something here in a little bit. But I wanted to listen to that first part, get down to where he talks about the statistics. Most kids do run away, unfortunately. That happens a lot. It really does. And the thought of Sebastian, could he possibly have ran away? Very possible. Very, very possible that he could have ran away. But however, as time goes on, that probability goes down lower and lower and lower. Sebastian was looking forward, unlike others who say he chose to live with his abusive stepfather over his father. I don't believe that at all, folks. Do not believe that. And it is my opinion that should it ever be released to the public, the counselor's notes, the person that did his therapy, and all the notes he wrote down about what it was that Sebastian was dealing with in that home. It would be plain as day that home was not his safe place. You're right, Kelly. But what's the reason those children ran away from home? There's always a reason. Always a reason. My oldest son was 4 years old, and he didn't like the fact that I was not going to let him go out and play because he hadn't picked up his toys in the living room. And I have always raised my kids to be responsible for their things that they get out. It wasn't hard for him to pick up his toys and take them to his bedroom. He knew that. He knew that was his one chore for the whole entire day, was to keep his toys picked up. He can have them out, play with them all he wants to, but when he's through, he needed to take them back. He got mad at me. He went and packed his little bag. He got a plastic grocery bag. He packed his little bag with one pair of underwear, his baseball glove, and his favorite ball cap. He came out and announced to me that he was running away because he didn't like how I was treating him. He put his little bag on the handlebars of his bike, got on his bike, and he rode up and down the street in front of our home. I was not worried the first trip that he made past my house because he stopped at his boundary level. He never left outside his boundary level that he was allowed to ride. He made about 4 or 5 trips. He came back in and says, "Mom, I guess I love you too much to run away." He took his little bag, put his toys in his little bag, went and took them to his room. Kids don't always agree with parents. They have their own thought and their process, and I get that. I get that as they get teenagers, they get a little more testy and decide to push the boundaries as far as they can. They don't always agree with the parents. But when Sebastian is gone for 19 months, his stepfather still has no alibi because the person over him at work busted his alibi all to pieces. His stepfather tries to throw in little kinks here and there and tries to push a whole different narrative out of the blue. I'm sorry, but that speaks volumes. When his mother hires a lawyer for herself and doesn't speak anymore for her child that she gave birth to, that speaks volumes. When his real father is standing on the side of the sheriff's department for 1 week solid, begging them to give the case over to the FBI so that his son can hopefully be found and something can be done. That speaks volumes. If you're listening right now and you honestly believe that Katie and Chris are innocent, that is your God-given right. And I would never hate you for it. Because I have my opinion, and that's my right to have. But at the end of the day, I hope that we both can agree Sebastian is the one that deserves the attention. Sebastian's the one that needs to be found. Sebastian is the reason, guys, that we're all here on this case. And the more we bring out and the more we push, the harder the other side is going to start trying to push different narratives in the hopes that maybe one day one of those narratives might just stick. Nothing's going to stick as far as I'm concerned until Sebastian is found. And because of that, we keep going until that day happens. Folks, when I say be safe out on these streets, be safe out there. There are so many clone accounts, you can't trust a lot of what you see or hear from people out there. Yeah, TJ seems to always kick in and remind me somehow, some way, don't stop. But be safe out there. Don't let Sebastian lose the focus where you're concerned. Because when that starts happening, his case just drifts away. We don't want him to be another, Madeleine McCann story with no answers whatsoever. We want him to be found one way or the other. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for sitting through all this. I wanted to bring y'all. She calling me, tell me about dinner again. I'm gonna let y'all listen. Hang on. Hello?
Are you still alive?
I am. I'm fixing to end it. Did you eat all the food?
No.
Okay.
I want the baked potato.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll be down there in just a minute, okay?
When you're coming down, call me, okay?
Okay, I'll call you when I come down. I promise. I love you.
Okay. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Sweet little girl. Oh, I'm fixing to. Thank you all so much for being here. Be safe if you go into that other live tonight. Sit back and listen, pay attention. Because, yes, Cinderella's been cloned. Her, yeah, although her picture is different, she has been cloned. Her channel has been cloned. Her name has been cloned. It's happening, folks. Be cautious. And what's the purpose? You know, what's the purpose? Why do you have to clone people? More of a distraction, more of causing a cluster. That's it. And so be careful out there, guys. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you for the ones who donated tonight. I love y'all so much. Y'all are amazing. And then tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm going to take a day off and just let my brain rest or not. I'll make a post. I'll let y'all know. But if anything does happen and we got anything really big we need to talk about, I'll definitely come back live tomorrow. But if I don't, I'll make a post and I'll let y'all know a checkup on my knee and see how we're doing tomorrow. I love you guys, and I thank y'all so much for the heart that you have for Sebastian, because he deserves it. He deserves way better than what he's been dealt in life. And so, y'all be good. Have a super great night. And until next time, love and hugs to each and every one of you. Good night.